This next guest is an IFAB Bikini pro, originally from Connecticut. She now resides in Boulder, Colorado. She was inspired to start competing because both her parents were bodybuilders themselves. A graduate of UConn and has a master's degree from Marshall University, she did her first amateur show as a natural in 2018. After a couple national shows later, she turned pro at the North Americans in 2020. In 2022, she did her pro debut at the Girl Power and got 15th place. But while some people may have been discouraged, she decided to go for a challenge, and that was the 2022 Pittsburgh Pro. I've never seen in my 16 years of bikini a rookie in particular go against top pros, top Olympians, and Arnold Classic champions and do very well. She placed fourth in that show and was riding on a high and tried to make her qualification for the 2022 Olympia. After going through all the phases from start to finish and going through all types of pros and all types of shows, it took a mental toll on her, and she decided to take some time off for that year. We discussed the importance of mental health and taking care of our own health in a failing healthcare system in the US. This person also started her own company, her own coaching business, AMORE Athletics, and just recently she became a posing coach, taking on in-person clients. Here's my guest, Miss Liana Giannamore.
Hi, I appreciate you having me.
So it's Liana, not Liana.
Liana, yes.
Okay, because I have a friend, Liana McCall. It's your name, but with an extra N in it. So
Yep.
I'm like, Liana, Liana. I'm like, so if I spelled your name wrong, I'm making sure like it's accurate.
I appreciate you.
I'm happy to have you on and looking at questions I have because I wrote them all down and
Yeah.
I wanted to answer things that maybe someone else would say. I don't want you to sound like you're repeating from something previous before.
Mm-hmm.
So about you, kind of wanted to get like your education, your background.
Yeah.
I think you used to live somewhere north. Now you're living in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. I grew up in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I lived there my whole life. And then 2020, February of 2020, so like right before the whole world shut down,
Yeah.
I packed up my Jeep and I just drove across the country. Never visited Colorado in my life. I just knew the mountains were calling me. But when I was in Connecticut, I went to UConn, so University of Connecticut.
Whoa.
Yeah, for my undergrad, and I studied nutrition there. Well, I changed my major 3 times until I decided I meant to do nutrition. My mom told me to, have that as my major, and I was like, you can't make a career out of nutrition. That was like back in 2010.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy I went that route. I took 2 years off and then I applied to grad school. So it was graduate school and an internship combined program that I did in West Virginia at Marshall University. And I got my master's in nutrition, and then I did my dietetic internship there. And then while I was in grad school, that's when I dove into bodybuilding, and I became a bodybuilding coach after my first season, and the rest is history.
Oh, so you're a dietitian.
Yeah.
I don't know how that always works, especially that I think I couldn't understand why your parents were saying that, because I have an exercise science degree and people say, well, you can't really do anything. But I went to Virginia Commonwealth University and they're the 20th best physical therapy school in the country. Like 16,000 people apply and they only take 40 in the whole country who apply. And I think
amazing.
VCU only takes 2 of their own because they want more out of state.
Yeah,
It kind of makes sense. But it was in a time when physical therapy was going from getting a bachelor's and a master's to now a doctorate. So 2015, they made it to now get a 3-year doctorate degree. So people who are currently practicing, they were told, go back to school, can't be practicing here. Because now they want people they make it more competitive than ever because, it's how crazy is this to say? And I don't want to be salty about it. If anyone's in this field, I commend them on this, but how crazy is it that it's one of the lowest paid allied health professions and it's more competitive than med school? You have a 5% chance of going into physical therapy school versus 10% to go into med school. And med school you can specialize in physician, surgeon, any doctor, any doctor career. But it's like 50,000 people apply across the country and 10,000 total get accepted a year. I'm like, what?
Wild.
I know.
It's very similar in the dietetic field. My internship only had 12 people. So, and it's based on a ranking system. I still can't really describe it to this day, but essentially what you do is So what I did is I applied to 5 schools, and you have to rank your school. So West Virginia was the last school on my list. Like it was my 5th rank. And that school has to match your rank in order for you to get in. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's still like that. Again, this was like years ago, but yes, very competitive. And when I was in school, they were talking about making, registered dietitians, they have to get their master's by, I don't know, I think it was 2025. So when I was in school, I was like, well, I'm going to find a combined program because I'm not going back to school. I'm going to bang out, 2 birds with 1 stone here. So yeah, it's forever evolving, but very competitive. I had to take very advanced science classes. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I salute anyone who did it. And I commend you for going to that. But I feel like now it's kind of like having a degree and having it is like it shows you're specializing into that. And I feel like, with the influencers, this food's bad, this is not, like, I'm just like someone who's reputable, someone who's went through it. I would rather have you as a dietitian versus some influencer or someone who says I'm a pro, or I look good because of my nutrition plan that I have. I'm like, it's a lot of just nuance. Someone who's actually, I feel like, I'm not taking away anyone's work, but I feel like someone who's went through it and can show that they have made changes and the
Mm.
results that they made, that makes a great coach. So I hear you have a thing for energy drinks. Are you drinking anything right?
So crazy. I actually am on a caffeine free kick right now. So
Yeah.
what you see me drinking is a decaf cold brew.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love an energy drink here and there, but the Alani cherry flavor is my
Oh,
absolute favorite. Um, but yeah, right now I was like, you know what? For Lent, I'm going to give up caffeine. And it was actually really easy. So it's going to be very interesting once Easter rolls around. I'm going to be off the wall. I can feel it already.
have you heard of paraxanthine?
No.
It's this patent ingredient called Infinity. It's a metabolite of caffeine. What's it? I'm not. There's not an ad. Not an ad. Not selling you anything. I think what's it called? Muscle Tech, and unmatched supplements. They have this product, but it's no caffeine at all. It's called paraxanthine. It's a metabolite of caffeine, so
Oh,
you can take it, and it's kind of like a nootropic with focus. You should look into it. I really think that if you want the effects of caffeine without taking caffeine,
mhm.
without all the jitters, that's something I could recommend.
Yeah, I'm so sensitive to any stimulant. So I was taking stim free, nootropic stuff back in the day. But like now I just go to the gym and I like have my 1 cup of coffee in the morning and I'm good. But
Yeah.
sometimes, I'm driving to the gym and I'm just like, I'm going to stop at a gas station real quick, get a Ghost or an Alani. Like, I need a little bit of push right now, but I never finish a whole can. That's how sensitive I am. It's weird.
Maybe have the. I think now the cans are like getting smaller. Now it's like less caffeine. So like I think 100 at most.
They have like really cute small Alani cans at
Yeah.
Target. That's what I like to buy.
Yeah. So I mean, you go to gas stations and stuff, and it's just like I compete, I train, I eat healthy. I go there. I'm like, there's nothing good at all.
No.
Too much erythritol, too much like, I'm like, I am not gonna buy boiled eggs from them. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get the only thing, maybe a fruit
So
cup.
guilty of if I'm on a road trip.
It's like it's too soggy. It's all this water and shit. Sorry for my language.
No,
So it's
you're
like
good.
I'm like I go there. I'm like, is there anything good? I'm like water? Okay. These what you call it? They're not kind bars. No.
The
I can't
RX
remember.
bars?
No. I'm gonna find them. Are they kind bars?
Maybe the ones that break your teeth.
Oh yeah, like yeah, the kind bars. I'm looking it up. Yeah, kind bars. Because they have like just nuts,
Yeah.
dark chocolate, and that's I'm like nice and simple. Like how crazies are like you go to another country, and I've learned this like
Mm,
it's less than 10 ingredients. Like
mhm.
in European country, they have less than 10 ingredients. They don't know what red 40 is. They don't know what any of that is because it's just not allowed. It's like they live longer. Their food tastes so much better. Then you come eat food in America, like I feel like shit.
For sure. There's a lot of additives here.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into your story. So I kind of took some notes here. So what got you into competing in the first place? Who was your inspiration? Or you kind of like, I like training. I want to display my physique.
Actually, both my parents were bodybuilders
Oh,
back in the day, before my time, before I was born. But I remember my mom always had her photo like up on her mantle of like her competing photo, and I've always just like gawked at it, like what? So my mom, like when I was very young, she actually was the one to teach me how to actually train properly. Um, yeah, so I give like all the credit to her. She taught me everything I needed to know about training, and that's why she was so adamant of me about going to school for nutrition, because she saw how much, like even in the kitchen, like growing up, my mom would be like, because I have a little sister as well too. So she would ask us, okay, what carb, protein, and veggie are we going to have for dinner tonight? So like I always knew how to balance my meals, and it's just weird how it just like carried into my adult life and now my career. But yeah, just like little things like that sparked my interest. And then when I went to grad school, I was like, you know what? I'm 10 hours away from my family. I don't know anybody here. Let me get on Instagram real quick, start researching, bikini coaches. Because I was like, oh, I'll have no distractions. And it's like, Lee, you're going to school. Like you're in class, you're in your internship, you're working. Yeah, let's throw a bodybuilding show on top of that. But it was, yeah, I mean, I fell in love obviously after that, because I know in the beginning we were talking about like income for both of our fields.
yeah.
Dietitians, they don't make a lot of money. And like I knew I didn't want to be in a hospital. That's why during my internship, I was trying to figure out like what field I wanted to be in. And then once I, was researching bodybuilding coaches, my first coach ever, Dylan, is a registered dietitian. So I
Mhm.
was like, wow, you can be a registered dietitian and, coach people how to bodybuild. Like that's what I want to do. I don't want to be in a hospital all day. And just like I knew it
Yeah.
wouldn't work for me. So that's why I was like, mentor me, like tell me everything. How do I
In
do
what
what you
in
do?
what year was this around?
This was in 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. hmm So yeah, I mean, my parents are the ones that got me into bodybuilding.
Yeah. So I can tell like back in the day, it was just like men's and women's bodybuilding, fitness and figure. So one of my favorites of all time in women's bodybuilding was Corey Everson because she came from like she was an athlete at University of Wisconsin, and I could see her ex-husband was a strength coach there. So that's where it kind of all came from. It's like,
Mm,
she was 5'10", only like 150, and she was like, and then being that dominant for 6 straight years, undefeated in the IFBB and in the NPC, winning she got her pro card, I think, nationals way back in the
mm.
day. And I was just like, I see that. I'm like, wow, that was like impressive. And she wasn't afraid. Like she looked like everybody wanted to look like she was in the magazines and all. I
Yeah.
think a lot of women, even in their 40s, 50s, they were inspired by Rachel McClish
Yes, that's what my
back in
mom was inspired
the.
by.
I mean, my favorites are like my favorites in female bodybuilding are Rachel, Corey Everson, Lenda.
hmm
Because I mean, Lenda won her sixth title when I was born in 1995, and I didn't start seeing things and seeing the magazines until like 2003 when I saw Jay Cutler and Ronnie headline the magazines. Back then, it was just way different. I know we're talking like old heads, like, but
No, but it
we're
is
not that old.
true
I'm gonna be 30 in 2 months. Okay, so, but I was always wondering, like, so people came from a sports background? Like, no, they just found a passion for it and they went for that. So I applied for only 3 schools. There was more private schools than public schools for physical therapy, and
Mm,
I just felt like, it just wasn't for me because of the academic pressure. I felt like if I couldn't handle the academics and some of the science courses, I don't think I could go to that and do it. But I
mm.
salute you for going through school, going through all that, and finding a very good passion in life. Um, so I do have a disclaimer, but you were natural. You did natural shows, right? And you did shows as a natural.
I did. Yeah, I think my first show was the Natural Ohio, if I could remember. But I turned pro natural. So like I was natural like yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. When did you decide like how many shows did you do before like getting into your first national show and then going into North Americans where you turned pro?
Ooh, how many national shows did I do? Uh I think so I did 4. No, I did 3 in 2019 and then in 2020 I did 2. So 5 national shows and then I finally got my pro card.
And that was during COVID and at North Americans.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were in a tent with no spectators. So it was just the judges in front of us. It was such a surreal, but I'll never forget that experience.
You there?
It was really cool. I remember it was pouring that day too. We were all like very humid in, Pittsburgh, like out there in the summer, just like with that humidity with the rain, like,
Hold on.
but it was a day I'll never forget. It was awesome.
Sorry, I'm gonna edit that part out. So go back. You said you were in a tent and then it was just the judges.
Yeah, yeah. So we were in a tent. The judges, so no spectators. We only had the judges. And I remember it was pouring rain that day. So like we're in a tent. So in the middle of, the end of summer, but the humidity was so bad that day. I remember, and that we all had to get shuttled by a bus to the tent, from the host hotel. But yeah, we were all back there backstage, and it was such an intimate experience, but something I'll definitely never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
really cool.
so you turned pro in 2020. All of 2021, you took the whole year off. Were you just
Yep.
building your physique and trying to get everything in life together? I know you said you moved to Colorado.
Yeah, so I moved to Colorado in 2020. And then I took all of 2021 off because I knew my glutes were my weakest point. So I was like, I need to take an entire year off to just eat and grow and just really train with that intent. And then I started prepping again I think it was December of 2021. So I can get on stage April of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your experience when going into 2022 with your first coaching team, it was your first one. You
Hmm.
were a coach as well with them as well.
Yep.
So when you first came out in 2022, you did the was it a class show? Was it Girl Power?
Girl power. Yeah.
So
That was so much fun.
how was that for your pro debut, your first experience? And I think you had some girls that were like top Olympians in that. You had Ashlyn Little, Marcia Goncalves. Some of those
Yeah.
girls in that top spots, they did qualify for the Olympia. So how was that like going into your first one? Did you come in with no expectations? Do you kind of felt like whatever happens, happens, or I'm in it to win? How were you feeling in in that moment of time?
In that moment, I think it was no expectations, but I also remembered I was very distraught and disheveled is like the only word I can think because I remember I remember my coach texting me like, "Where are you?" Like, they're lining up. Like, what are you like? Just where are you? And I remember running back to the curtain, like right before you go backstage, and I was like, "Hi, like I'm Liana. I'm here for Bikini." And he was like, "They're lining up right now." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I'm like running backstage, throwing my heels on as I'm getting in line. I don't have time to pump up. I don't have time to, throw back my pump up snack before I step on stage. Like literally nothing. I was so disheveled. I don't even know how I did my routine because I was just so out of it. And yeah, I had a lot going on during that time too. So I think it just made sense that everything in my life was chaotic, and then that show was very chaotic for me. But yeah, I went in there with no expectations. But when I did get 15th place, I was really bummed about it because I was questioning if this was even for me. Like, am I pro worthy? Like, I just took over a year off to grow my glutes. Like, damn, like, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. But I quickly silenced that and think it was 5 days later or a week later, I did Pittsburgh Pro. And that's when I got fourth place amongst, the top Olympians. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I made
So
for this.
I was gonna say that was like I've never seen in like, and I learned that this was your like rookie season. I was like, she's a rookie. I'm like, what? And like, and she's doing this. Like, did you see that lineup before? And you're like, so you had Laura Lee, you had Ashley Kay, Janet Leug, India Paulino. You see those names, and you're like, oh man. And there are obviously some Olympians already qualified. And did you look at it like, oh man, I'm going against the top girls. Like this is going to be intense, or did you psych yourself out, or you just kind of went in like, if I do well, great. If I don't, oh, oh well.
So my mindset going in was there was no fear whatsoever. It was more of a mindset of if you're going to qualify for the Olympia, when you get on the Olympia stage, you're going to be competing against these girls. So why not do a very prestigious show
Yeah,
to see where you line up before you get to the Olympia? So like that was my mindset. And then I don't even remember looking at the lineup. I just remember being backstage with everybody and being like, oh my God, this is so surreal. I'm like surrounded by, people I look up to and people I admire. Like I'm going to be competing against you right now. Like this is insane. But I just went up there and did my thing. And I just remember when my number was called, I was like, what is happening right now? Is this for like I had to keep like I almost passed out on stage too because I was like, this is crazy. Like I know what's going through my mind. I don't even know what's going through my coach's mind right now, but like I could hear everybody screaming. It was a really cool. Yeah, that was Pittsburgh is where I have the best luck, obviously. So it was a really cool experience for sure.
yeah, and I commend you because a lot of girls in their first season as a rookie, they're kind of like, let me play it safe, let me go for that. No, you weren't playing it safe. You said, I'm gonna go in without no regret, no, and I'm gonna I'm gonna take this risk. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, well, but it turned out that that was one of the best looks you've ever had on stage. Although I do say that some of the shows that you had where you were in those top places, I felt like you could have been ahead. So you have a very striking look on stage. You have that like stage presence. Like you have a way of people like of drawing people's eyes to you. Where did that come from? Where how'd you build up that stage presence and confidence on stage, especially with the hair thing you do?
No, I love it. Honestly, I think I'm a very firm believer that what's going on, like in your mental state of mind, if that is clear and that is positive and that is who you are to your core, that's going to exude on stage. Like, not even on stage, like in everyday life. So, like yes obviously like I practice over and over again like my routine physically but also like putting myself mentally in a really calm spot and every single time before I'm about to walk out on stage I just remind myself that you have literally worked for weeks and months to obtain this physique. You have what, a minute to like showcase that. So leave all of your fears backstage. And honestly, I feel like it's kind of like fake it till you make it. Just like go out there and like strut it. And obviously too, the more I was on stage, the more comfortable I felt as well too. But I feel like it's that mental space too. Once that's clear and you really know who you are, you could shine.
Yeah. So after Pittsburgh, and you just blew up on social media. Like everybody was good. I was rooting for you. I mean, I'm guilty if I kept saying, "Come on, keep going." You know, I didn't. I'm sorry if I was like putting that on, but I respect someone who makes effort. I like,
Yeah.
regardless of what happens, I respect someone making the effort. Um, did you feel like going into it, like going into the season, you had that high pressure, high stress on you? Because you know, to qualify for a show, when there's an Olympic qualification online, there's pressure to win. How did that happen? How did that affect your mental health into competing to just to qualify when I know the story about Portugal, the whole with your food missing, and then you just
Yeah.
kept going, you
Yeah.
know.
I was gonna stop after Portugal. So like all of the shows leading up to Portugal were so fun. Like I had a blast. Like, I was like, I felt like I was traveling a lot that year just because I competed so much. Um, but after Portugal, I was mentally tapped out. But seeing like everybody rooting for me online and like, cheering for me, like keep going. It's like I wanted to do that. Um, like but I wasn't checking in with myself and like what I wanted to do because I was getting pressure from not only like people online, but like also my coaches. Like even my mom was like, keep going. And I'm like, well, shit, if my mom's saying to keep going.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, you're so close, you're so close. And it's, how do you say no to your mom? But I also wasn't opening up to how I was feeling because in this sport, it's very isolating, but it's like push, 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 no matter what. And then, after I got that seventh place finish in Texas, I was like, okay,
Yeah, San Antonio.
you're done. You're really done this time. Because at that point, I was chasing points. That's when they were doing the point
Yeah,
system.
that was the last year that they had
Yeah.
points.
So that's what I was trying to do was like accumulate those points because I got a lot of points after Pittsburgh. And then, I was getting top 3. So like that was bumping me up the list as well too. But yeah, I was like, the stage is always there. Like take a break, chill. You deserve to take a break.
You got third in Miami,
Mhm.
third at the Mile High, which
Mhm.
against Ashley and Issa, like that show that was the one where you got third and you turned 30. I remember that one, that post.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was my birthday weekend. I flew my sister in, my best friends were here. Like that was such an amazing show. And obviously too, like I live in Colorado. So that was a really fun show because all my people were with me for that show. So it was a really special one. But yeah, I remember going up against those two, Ashley and Issa. And it was really cool to just like be with, like, even if I got third, I'm like, next to them taking pictures with our trophies and our crowns. I was like, this is so cool.
I know. So then you did, I forgot what show it was, before San Antonio. That was another third place. So you're like right there and you kept pushing. So was there like training intensity and more PED use going involved, and that's where it kind of like drained you, or was it just mentally and physically you were just tired?
No, it was straight mental
Oh,
for sure. And just like doing the same things like every single day. It was very repetitive physically, yes, but like it was way more mental than it was physical.
yeah, because you went through the whole season. For like when people just start out, there's not many at the beginning of the season, then to the middle, to the end. So you went through all types of competitors. You went through all that as a rookie in your first year. I was just like, man, she went through the whole thing. People will wait to go last minute, or like they'll do it a couple months out before the cutoff date, but you went through it all. I think the cutoff date was in November in 2022. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just at the end of October. And I was just like, I commend her for doing this. But I'm just like, part of me was just like, I felt bad to tell her I felt bad for me to tell you to keep going. But because I kind of just started to see like, you're bright, you came out, and then all of a sudden it just started to like go like, I'm here. Okay. This is my best.
You know
But
what
I just,
the worst?
yeah.
The worst was, I think it was my last show in San Antonio.
Yeah.
I remember my mom calling me and being like, "You just didn't shine like you used to in the beginning of this year," and that crushed me. Like I love my mom. Like she always gives me like she always tells me what I need to hear. And I think after that, it was like, yeah, because I'm mentally drained. Like nothing, there's no shine, there's no spark. There's just like, oh. And also, too, I didn't take any pictures that show. That's when you know you're mentally tapped out. Like 0 pictures were taken that day.
Yeah.
So I already knew I was checked out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you took that time off, and then you only did so in 22. So when did you kind of know? Was it kind of like you were physically, emotionally, mentally? What was more hurting like in your internal health? Do you feel like internally you were just like that was hurting as first, or I mean,
No, it was more mental
yeah.
than anything. Yeah. Um, and you can't mentally heal, especially when I was going. So I went through a 5-year breakup and I never got to process that. So like that happened my pro debut and I just kept competing, kept competing, kept
Mm.
competing. So when I finally stopped competing at the end of October, that's when I started to feel all the emotions because I started eating again, eating a normal amount. Like my training intensity, like I went down to 4 days, my cardio got brought down. And then I started to see clearly, like, oh, I never processed this. Let me go ahead and do that. But I feel like that takes a lot of time. But I think it was just so painful to face that 4 months later, I was like, okay, we're jumping into another prep for 2023 season,
Yeah.
which was tough.
Okay, so actually, that is actually my next topic that we're getting into this. So, 2023 season, you did only 2 shows. You did Chicago, you got seventh, and I'll tell you this: that backdrop was garbage.
Oh, it was
The
so trash.
fire, and then the fire, and I don't mean any disrespect. I know you got seventh, but the girl that was fifth had blonde hair, like yellow. So I was just like, I don't understand.
A lot of
I'm
people
not taking anything away from. Just I look, I was like, what? I
a
was,
lot of people didn't understand the placing that
yeah,
show. And it was tough because I was doing Tampa right after that.
yeah,
And I remember getting on my flight to Tampa and I saw another bikini coach like waiting to board the same plane. And we were chit chatting. He was like, "Why are you doing Tampa Pro?" I was like, "What do you mean, why?" And he was like, "It's the same exact judging panel as Chicago Pro. You know that, right?" And I'm like, well, that's awesome because Tyler typically is the head judge of Tampa Pro, but I
yeah.
think he had a bachelor party like that weekend. So it was the same exact judging panel, and I had no idea. And that really bummed me out. Um,
But I
but
loved your Tampa. I will tell you this: I loved your Tampa look a lot.
I did too. I did too. Tampa was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So after you ended 2023 on Tampa, when did you decide that you were kind of? Did you feel kind of like stuck, like you weren't progressing, you're going back? When did you feel like it was a coaching change, or you just you wanted to try something new? When was that moment that you decided you're going to go with Cash?
Um, I had no idea I was going to go with cash. But I was feeling like an emotional disconnect, especially when it came to alignment of values and
Yeah,
beliefs with my old coach. And I give all, like I said in the beginning, like he's the one that taught me everything. Like
yeah,
there's still so much love for him. Um, we were just growing in different directions. Um, and I literally had no idea. I didn't have like, oh, okay, I'm gonna drop him and I'm gonna go to this coach. Like there was none of that. There was a time period between Dylan and I where I literally had no idea what I was gonna do. Like I didn't know what direction I was going to take. But what I did see was the reason why I chose cash was I remember being at Tampa Pro, and my coach wasn't there at the time, so it like really opened my eyes to see the level of care that and like attention to detail that he was giving to Ashlyn backstage, and I was like, whoa, like this is cool. Like, you're really cool. And like, I had nobody to talk to that show. So I was like, and I'm like really close with Ashlyn. And like, I've met Cash before. Like, we all know each other. So it was nice. Like, yeah. And oh, yeah. And I was with like I was with like Paul and stuff that show too. So it was nice. Like, I didn't feel like I was alone, but like, that was the moment where I saw that like attention to detail and care backstage. And I kept that in the back of my head. And then I remember DMing him and I was like, hey, do you have time for a chat this weekend? He was like, I'm free now. I'm like, okay.
yeah. I mean, like I will say this, and when I had that poll out of like who is the bikini coach of the year, everyone said Cash, and I'm like, You don't think Kim Odo is like because he won the titles? He goes, Kim's great, but what Cash has done to those girls, he changed their lives. He's like impacted them. He's like, you don't see him talk about how many pro cards he has, how many titles. My girl's this, my girl's that. I'm better than you. My girl's better than you. No, he gets the best out of his athletes. And I
Mm.
look at what happened in Nashville, which I'm going to get to in 2025. I'm like, oh my God, she came up so much from the last year. I looked at what you looked like in Tampa and then Nashville. I was like, she
Yeah,
has what it
that was
takes.
mind blowing to me too. That was mind blowing. Um, yeah, that was really cool to put those photos side by side.
But I think, and I disagree with anyone who says like you don't have the genetics instruction. Like you have great genetics for bikini. And do I believe that you have what it takes to win a show and qualify? Absolutely. Do I think someone like Hope Harper can qualify? Do I think someone like Kerrigan or Masa and other girls who've been like in those top spots they can qualify? Absolutely. But for you, I feel it's just you're gonna have your moment. You're gonna have your time. Right show in the right lineup and you are nailing it. I believe so. And when you
I
get
believe
when you get that first place win and you think about everything you've gone through these past couple of years, it's going to be the most rewarding feeling. I can tell you that right now.
it's gonna be so worth it. I envision what that first place win will feel like a lot. So it's just a matter of when at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for when that
So
time comes.
you decided to take 2025 season off due to a back injury. Was
Yeah.
that something in the gym or was just something like nerve? How did
Um,
that happen?
so I never realize when I throw my back out when I'm at the gym, but I know for a fact it's because of hinging. It's like any hinge movement. So like a dumbbell RDL typically
Hmm.
gets me. And I don't know why my form digressed. It was really weird because like I was watching videos of myself back in 2022, like my RDL form and any hinge pattern was fine. And then I looked at my hinge patterns in like 2024 and I'm like, what was I doing? Just lots of like hyperextending on the back. Like I don't know what I was doing, but that carelessness threw my back out. So like I said, I don't feel it in the moment. I feel it when I come home and I can't take my shoes off or, I can't sit on the toilet. Like I literally am immobile. I can't move. And this has happened to me back in 2022 two times, and I'm able to rebound in a week. Whereas this injury happened right before Tampa Pro last year and I didn't rebound. I didn't rebound after 2 weeks. I didn't rebound after 3 weeks. And that's when I knew like this is something a lot more serious. So I had to get an MRI. I got x-rays done. I even saw a neurosurgeon. I was going to get back surgery. Like it was really serious. So I think with just like having more, and especially when I'm super lean, I think it's very testy when I'm stage lean. It's just there's no protection around that area for me. Um, and truly, I don't know what happened because I saw 3 chiropractors last year and a neurosurgeon. And once I stopped seeing all of the doctors, my back was healed. It was weird. I don't know. I literally don't know what happened. But I was like, I had a like white flag moment, like throw your hands up, like I'm done, like pouring all of this money into all of these doctors and like even about to schedule surgery, like that's insane, especially at my age. So yeah. And also too, I fixed my form with the trainer I work with now. So just like being really diligent in the gym, only training 4 times a week, like eating well, so I can like really protect that low back as well too. Not being so lean, and just like really building on that area. So it's really nice to like my trainer Chris, who lives here. He was like, Lee, I'm so tired of you getting hurt. Can I please take over your training and like help you? Like I want to help you. because he knows how many times I've gotten hurt. And I was like, that would be amazing. Thank
So
you.
you did like a homeopathic kind of way
I
to
don't
fix,
even know what happened. Yeah,
because you
I
didn't go under a knife or anything like that.
literally nothing.
No.
And it's weird. I remember it was so bad that they had to give me painkillers at one point, and nothing like the painkillers wouldn't even touch the pain. Like
Mm.
Advil, Tylenol, like nothing would touch that pain. And then when I stopped seeing everybody, I was like, oh, I could walk again. It was so strange. I feel weird like talking about it because I can't figure out how to put it into words because I don't know. And I feel like people would be like, oh, maybe it really wasn't that serious. No, it was so serious to the point where like I literally couldn't get out of bed. I could not walk on my own. Um, so yeah, it was just a miracle. I don't know. But I was really sad thinking I was never going to lift weights again. I was never going to compete. So it is really nice to like have everything like come together again. And I'm still healing it. So, but it's cool now because I can actually pose again. That was my biggest weakness. Like I couldn't pose. So, I was just doing posing today in the gym, and like when I pose now, like I have the biggest smile on my face because I'll never take that for granted again. Because I remember when I couldn't hit my front pose, uh, and now I'm able to do that seamlessly. So yeah, like I said, I don't know. I
I
really
mean,
don't
that's
know.
truly amazing that I mean, you didn't have to, you didn't see any massage therapists or anything like that, or
Oh yeah,
oh,
I had my massage therapist at Armbrust who was taking care of me. I
that
even
gym's
went
awesome.
to, I was doing like dry needling, like cryotherapy, red light therapy, like you name it. I was doing everything and anything to just try. I was even on like a decompression table where it's like they pull one side of you and the other side of you and they like decompress your spine. Like I was like, I will try anything at this point. But
Yeah,
what I really needed to do was just pull back on everything and just chill.
yeah,
Because I think I was just aggravating it more.
yeah. I mean, it's good that you saw the problem and felt like I have to fix this before even getting back, even doing anything. Because it's kind of sad in our healthcare and now these days. It's kind of like people wait to be absolutely worse before they decide to do anything, and sometimes it's too little, too late. Some like
Yeah.
I can give you my grandfather. He passed away last year at 87,
Mm.
and he had nothing in his knee. He just had to live with no cartilage, and the doctor was like, well, if you had surgery at 70 years old, you would have been a better candidate for knee replacement. But with 8 diabetes medications you're on, with
Yeah.
all these things, and you never even addressed it all this time, there's a 20% chance you live through the surgery, because he could go under and then bad
Yeah.
things. So he just decided not to do it, and he died of old age. It's
Mm.
just that's why. But I feel like you kind of saw the problem, and then you're like, I need to address this before doing it. So I that is amazing that you figured it out even on your own, and no doctor, no surgeon
I
didn't
know.
have
I
to
was so on
perform
purpose
on you.
about it too, because I got the X-rays done, but the X-rays could only show so much, right? And I was like begging my chiropractor at the time. I was like, I need an MRI, and they're like, you don't need an MRI, you know. And then one day I came in just like sobbing, and I was like, something is wrong with me. You're not listening to me. I need you to schedule me an MRI next week. And I just want to let everybody know, please be an advocate for yourself, speak up for yourself, because once I got that MRI, it literally showed what I've been trying to explain
Hmm.
this whole time. Like I had a significantly large bulge. I had um, sciatica, and then I had a degenerative disc disease. It literally like my S1 and my L5, like it was like this. Like it was almost bone
Yeah.
on bone. So that's why I don't know how I'm operating right now, because like how does somebody fix that without surgery? Um, but I feel fine. Knock on wood.
Yeah. So if it does occur, then yes, go see a profession and find someone that's really specialized in that. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
I'm hoping all is you don't have to go through any operation or any of that. So that's good to know that you're doing this and that you're continuing to that you're continuing to train
Oh
and
yeah.
pose very well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm doing 2 lower days now. I typically pose like every other day, and yeah, I've had no slip ups since the winter. So yeah, it's been like a consecutive 6 months of like no pain, which is
that's good.
amazing.
That's awesome. So when did you start building AMORE Athletics, your own coaching business, and did you take your clients from your previous from your previous coach from when you were with Bear Aesthetics with you? And
Hmm.
what was and for you being an entrepreneur, being your own brand, what are the risks you took starting your own business from your team, and what were the risks of starting your own business from the team that you were building for yourself?
Hmm. So to answer your first question, I started Amore Athletics June of 2023. Um, and it's called Amore Athletics because Gian- Giannamore is my last name. So
Yeah.
I just like took half of it, and then I love alliteration. So I just like, oh, athletics. Okay, cool. Um, and then like obviously just like red obviously because of love, and then black because me. So yeah, I was just like, okay, perfect. We got a brand. But Dylan, bless his heart, he allowed the clients that I had with Bare Aesthetics, he allowed them the choice. Like you can either stay with Bare Aesthetics or you can go with Liana, which was really cool. And I know a lot of coaches would never fucking do that.
Yeah.
So like that was very nice of him to say the least. Um, and literally like 95% of those clients went with me, and that was a huge confidence booster for me because I'm like, who's going to want to come with me instead of, and like leave a big name team? So like I was having like a lot of self-doubt, but when 95 people, they were like, Lee, we follow the coach, we don't follow the team. And I'm like, I love you guys so much. Like just like I've built uh like a relationship and a rapport with all of them. So for all of them to like believe in me and trust in me and like come with me, that was the best feeling ever. Because I feel like as coaches, like sometimes we have a little bit of imposter syndrome. So like that was a huge confidence booster for me. Um, and also a huge risk. Like I was getting inquiries, all the time from Bare Aesthetics. Whereas now I need to market myself and I need to find my own inquiries. Like you're on your own now. You don't have anybody that you can fall back to. So like that was a huge risk, but I believed in myself so much and my brand and my beliefs and my values that, you know, made up Amore, that I was like, I'm going to be fine because I'm going to be myself. Um, and every single client I sign right now is a dream client of mine. Like those are the exact people I want to work with because they see who I am on the internet. And they're like, oh, you're like this in real life too. Cool. Like, I don't know. It's just like this bond that we have, and we haven't even started working with one another. It's just like the connection is so cool, and I'm just so grateful for every single one of them. And yeah, I was an entrepreneur actually before when I graduated UConn. I had my own company. It was called Gianna Fitness. And I like showcase everything on like Facebook. That's when like Facebook was big. Um, Honestly, I don't even know if Instagram was a thing back then.
It was
Um,
around Instagram started around like
when was
2011.
Oh, then I was behind time. Well, I did everything on Facebook, and that's how I got my clients. But yeah, that was like my first take at like entrepreneur life. Um, and then like I went to grad school and whatever. So yeah, it's cool to finally be back in like this mature age with this mature mindset and this like newfound motivation and like newfound me. I just feel like it's yeah, it just like showcases me, and it's really cool to say
Yeah,
that like,
and
oh, like I built that.
yeah, in your work shows, and I don't think people just like you for you're just your physique and how you present on stage, but also your personality and how you express yourself. The black suit, you can do that. And I actually wanted to talk about that because people were saying, go back to red, like black's not traditional. Well, what happened after Nashville? Becky said, "Hey, your personality, that dark look that you have to you, not like goth or emo or anything, but like you have like this dark, like who used to do black suits?
Uh,
India Paulino, Alex Ross, and I think
Ross,
you
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and this girl in the amateurs right now, I forgot her, Emily Harp. They can do black, and it looks great on them with their dark hair and how their skin and everything reflects off that. So you're bringing out your own personality, and I think people like that for you. You're just being authentic. You're being real, and you're saying, "I'm going through this." You're showing people what you're going through. You're not showing being an imposter anymore. You're telling people, "I'm going through a moment. I need time off. I'm mentally going through it. I'm not physically where I want to be,
Mm.
and I just need to take time and develop this." And you're building your brand, you're building your roster, and you're making a legacy for yourself. That's what I have to say about you, Liana.
I really appreciate that. That means a lot. But I
So
remember when I wore that black suit, somebody sent me something on Reddit of everybody like, Liana, like, should go back to red, like, stop wearing black. Like, the judges are telling you not to wear black. And I remember getting on my,
what judge?
literally,
What?
I remember getting on my Instagram story that night and being like, listen, I'm here to clear the air. This is what Becky actually said about my black suit. So this is to just shut everybody up. I was like, where are these people on the internet getting all of this information from? Like, it was just like mind blowing. So I was like, let me put this to rest right here, right now.
It's. I mean, if I had ever had a client they want to do a black suit, I'd have to think, okay, is it going to look good on them? Or like, if you want to do it, go ahead. Obviously traditional is like red, blue, teal, purple, and not many greens. But I tell them, hey, listen, you see what goes at a national show. If you feel like you want to be, that's your personality, and that's what makes you feel great about yourself, go ahead. Just no white or orange. Pink depends on your hair color and also your skin tone.
Mm,
But Margaret makes awesome suits. Use
yeah.
code Liana. Just saying. I'm gonna not an ad, not an ad. But I'm gonna plug that in, and we're gonna give you. I'm gonna let you give a shout out to everybody. But right now, how are you enjoying life when you're not on stage? Outside the stage, are you traveling? You're living life. You're doing things how you're doing retreats for your athletes as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's in the works. Retreats. So, um, it's actually perfect timing that I took 2025 off because my sister's actually getting married this year. So, and obviously I'm the maid of honor. So we're just like, we got the bridal shower, we have the bachelorette, we have the wedding, and it's just everything's so spread out that like I remember when she was trying to pick a wedding date last year, and like selfishly, I really wanted her to pick something that was after the Olympia. But I never said that out loud because it's like, this is her time. Like, you'll figure it out once she gives you a date. And when she gave the date, it was like after the Olympia. And I was like, this is amazing. I can compete at the Olympia and then I can go celebrate my sister. But that just would have been so chaotic. So I love that I'm putting like all of my energy, not only into growing my business this year, but into her. Like, she deserves it. And I just finished planning like the bachelorette, and yeah. So honestly, like I thought I was going to travel a lot this year, but it's felt so good to just chill and sit and just do nothing.
No, it's
Obviously, I'm like training, and I'm like, I don't have a nutrition coach right now. I only have a training coach. So I've taken on like all of my nutrition, but like I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long. So, I still track macros here and there. And like, I know what the ultimate goal is, like, get on the Olympia stage. So, like, I'm working towards that still. Um, but when I'm ready, I will hire a coach and go from there.
Hey, that sounds really great. So two. I have a couple more things before our closing statements.
Mhm.
What's an advice that you wish you had learned in the past that you can now pass on to newer competitors or rookies going into their first season as a pro, or like girls now in the amateurs before they're ready to go to that national level stage?
Yeah. Um, I wish somebody told me that this sport was a lot more mental than it was physical. And I think the more self-aware you are, the more it hits you a lot harder because we feel literally everything. So you really have to, in bodybuilding, learn how to dissociate, and separate like your life from like bodybuilding life, but also don't get so far away from yourself when you do dissociate, because there is like positives that come along with it. But that's what happened to me in 2022. I like separated it, and it just kept, I was getting so far away from myself that I was like, wait, wait. uh, so, just like really having that mental grit, but also knowing that like you don't have to go through it alone. So, like, whatever you're feeling, like, I always have like a close circle of like two or three people that I'm just like, I need to vent right now, or I need to complain right now. Like, just because you can complain, like, you're still going to do the things, but like, don't complain all the time. Like, you signed up for this. You were the one that signed up for this. Like, and also don't give up either. That was one thing my dad always told me as a kid. Like, if you start something, you finish it. You never give up. Um, so yeah, just like keep fighting. But yeah, I wish somebody told me it was a lot more mental than it was physical. So I had to do a lot of work on like how to bring my nervous system down to a balanced state when like shit got really heightened. So you learn so much about yourself through the process, and I think that's the most beautiful thing.
All right. Now that's a really good statement. So I'm gonna share your page with everybody.
Appreciate
All
you.
right. So,
There I am.
and anybody you want to shout out? Any sponsors and where to find Liana?
Where to find me? Well, I only have an Instagram. Well, I also have a TikTok, but Instagram's my main hub. Um, and yeah, definitely shout out my training coach, Chris, classic Chris with progressive performance, and then also like Toxic Angels, my suit company, and then the Shoe Fairy, where I get all my heels as well too.
And you have a code for Shoe Fairy as well?
Yeah, so Toxic Angels code is my first name, Liana 15. And then Shoe Fairy is just my first name, which is Liana.
With one N, guys.
Yeah, one N, please.
Listen, I appreciate everything, Leon. I'm happy to have talked with you once again. We met actually at the 2022 Olympia, if you don't recall.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I was telling you, like, you have a great future in this. And I think, and I truly believe that you keep going with this, you're going to have your moment. And I mean that, not because of who you are, but you work hard for what you want in your life and you've gone through everything. And like I said, this sport is more mental than physical. Like having a great physique and presenting that is great, but you have to have the mentality that you're a champion, regardless if even if you got third in those shows, you're still a champion.
Yeah, you can't get butt hurt. Like, yes, it's going to sting, but like, don't let a placement define who you are. Like, I mean, I'm a clear, like, I got 15th place my first pro show, and then I got fourth right after. And like, if I were to end after that 15th place, I would have never have known what my future would be in this sport. So it's like keep going, and it's if you get a bad placement, dust it off, ask for feedback, and work towards that feedback. You're getting feedback for a reason. Utilize it. They're telling you exactly what to do. So,
Well, I really appreciate everything. I thank you so much, and I look forward to having you on another time if you're ever available.
yes, absolutely.
All right. You take care, all right?
Bye.
Bye.